No way, guys. Is that a full sack of diamonds? I am so lucky, guys. This seed must be so overpowered.
I searched the web for the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns, and some of these speedruns are so fake it's hilarious. So here are the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns. The first run begins with our speedrunner spawning into a desert. He immediately spots a few things in the distance, including a desert village that he starts to swim to. And after looting a few chests, he goes up the stairs on a certain house and finds full netherite armor, an enchanted bow, and 64 arrows, along with a netherite axe and a pickaxe, which is obviously fake, as there is no way these loot and the chests are real at all. He then decides to equip this obviously fake loot and continue his speedrun, and it doesn't take him long to find a completely random end portal sitting in the middle of the desert. This guy didn't even travel to the nether in the speedrun. But wait, this isn't even a real end portal. It's a random one that leads down to a cave. And wait, why is there already a dragon egg sitting down there wide in the open? And there's also a dragon head. This guy's finished speedrun without even going into the end. While hilarious, this speedrun was obviously fake, and I honestly don't even think I should count this. This next speedrun is our very first mobile speedrun of the day. The speedrunner loads into the world, and the first thing that we notice is that he spawns directly over a chest with a bunch of extremely overpowered gear. And he also happens to spawn right next to something that appears to be a diamond netherite tree, which definitely doesn't exist in normal Minecraft. The speedrunner takes the tools that he got from the chest and begins to harvest this extremely weird tree. And after mining the resources from the tree, the speedrunner decides to break random blocks under him. And what do you know? He also happens to be right over a completely filled and completed end portal. I can't take this anymore. The speedrunner then makes his way into the end. The problem is he has nothing. Oh wait, he has a ton of overpowered loot he got from the chest at the very beginning of the video. Our speedrunner then changes game mode to creative and begins to fly around and attempt to kill the ender dragon, which is obviously incredibly easy because he has a bow and literally is just in creative mode flying around. Not to mention he has some incredibly overpowered and strong arrows. And after a while and a ton of missed shots with his bow and arrow, the speedrunner finally takes out the ender dragon in an extremely fast time. I would give this guy a lot of credit for his speedrun if it wasn't completely fake. This next speedrun is one of the fastest ones I've ever seen in my life. The run begins and immediately our speedrunner breaks down a block, then falls down a single hole into a stronghold where he crafts himself a completely custom axe. And he also somehow gets a book in the process. He then builds up out of the end using some very cursed grass, which seems very unnecessary, and literally opens his book, which apparently has a link that can somehow kill the ender dragon after just one press. Run that back. This guy literally opened a book, clicked a link that says subscribe to his channel, and then managed to kill the ender dragon in under 1 minute. I've given up with these fake speedruns. I'm giving away $100 to a subscriber who comments how many things he can find in this next speedrun. The run starts off, and thankfully it starts off pretty normally, with our speedrunner going to break wood, and he even decides to go ahead and make some tools. Okay, wait, why is he going into the chat? And why did this guy just use a command to locate a village? I had hope for this guy. Our speedrunner then goes into the village and begins to break beds and loot chests. And unsurprisingly, he finds full netherite armor in the very first village house that he enters into, along with a bunch of other tools that will help him in the rest of the speedrun. He then goes into the chat and begins to just teleport himself in items. In this case, he decides to give himself 36 Eyes of Ender. The speedrunner then decides he needs to get more beds for the end fight, so he continues to loot those. And don't forget, he also decides to spawn himself in cooked chicken. After a quick cut in the video, our speedrunner is suddenly in the strongholds, and he decides to put himself into spectator mode. That way it is incredibly easy for him to locate the end portal, which he does after only a few seconds, and after placing the Eyes of Ender, he makes his way into the end. Once in the end, our speedrunner makes a huge mistake and actually dies, but somehow respawns directly back to where he started, and then gives himself back everything he needs to survive in the end. He then decides to go into creative mode and just flies around and tries to fight the Ender Dragon. And he set up some sort of command because he's literally able to kill the Ender Dragon with only his fist, and end off his speedrun with an incredibly fast time. What a hilarious speedrun! That was obviously fake. This next speedrunner literally starts off his run in creative mode, because when he goes to punch the first block, he completely breaks it. He's not off to a good start. He also happens to spawn directly next to a village, and you guys can see where this is going. The speedrunner draws his attention to the iron golem guarding the village, but I guess he isn't skilled enough to kill it because he changes his difficulty so that the iron golem doesn't even attack him. After killing the iron golem, the speedrunner notices a strange portal at the end of the village, and it is a completely fake ruin portal that was definitely built before he started recording. And of course, it wouldn't be a fake speedrun without finding extremely overpowered armor in one of the village chests. The speedrunner then makes his way through the mysterious nether portal and then goes into the nether. Once our speedrunner spawns into the nether, he just so happens to spawn directly into a nether fortress and right into a blaze spawner. And after a few cuts in the video, he suddenly gets 12 blaze rods and just goes back over to the overworld. Once in the overworld, the speedrunner gets a very strange message on one of the signs, and literally finds a random Among Us build in the speedrun, which just so happens to be a perfect landmark for where the end portal is located. I can't take this anymore. Once in the end, all the speedrunner has to do is hit the dragon a few times, and with his extremely overpowered fist, he kills the Ender Dragon. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what he did in the speedrun, but it was obviously fake. This next speedrun has a very interesting beginning, and it's not due to the fact that she spawns directly into a village. It's this completely random skin she's wearing. Oh, yeah, she also finds some of the craziest loot in her very first chest. I've given up at this point. She continues to loot the rest of the village and collect as many overpowered items as she can, and then continues to go and get some more essentials like hay for some bread, and also opens up another chest with fireworks, which is definitely fake and not real in this speedrun. After looting the village and collecting all of her extremely overpowered loot, the speedrunner decides that it is finally time for her to make her way into the nether. And after a completely long and unnecessary journey, she locates a ruined portal that she uses to go straight into the nether. And you guessed it, she spawns into a completely fake and random house in the nether that just so happens to give her a bunch of Eyes of Ender. I'm done with this. With all the materials she needed to get out of the way, she decided to make her way back into the overworld. And what do you know? She happens to spawn right above a netherite block, and you guessed it, leads directly down into the stronghold and end portal. Once in the end, the speedrunner makes their way over to the dragon and attempts to try to kill it, and after going into creative mode and flying around attempting to break all the crystals, the speedrunner goes for the dragon and ends up killing it quite easily. The speedrun was hilarious, and while fake, I do have to give it props because it was very funny. This final speedrun is probably the funniest one of this entire video. The run begins and our speedrunner is literally floating midair on an island. And this dude is not only in creative mode, but has a diamond sword already equipped in his inventory. Anyway, the speedrunner then makes his way and travels to a village. But then he suddenly cuts the video and is right in front of a finished nether portal. A little bit later in the speedrunner, our speedrunner teleports to the stronghold and then enters the end. And finally, when the speedrunner is about to kill the Ender Dragon, pause. If you want to know what happens in this speedrun, make sure to click on screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe.